Hi, friends! Welcome back. Thank you so much for your support on my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Valrine. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you'll stop by many more times and at some point hit that subscription button. All right, so I am getting ready for my week ahead. And one of the things that I'll be doing is a duvet cover, a queen duvet cover. And I'll be working with a pattern fabric and a solid fabric. However, both pieces of fabric that I'll be working with are not wide enough to make the cover in one swipe. And so I'll have to join panels. So I'll be showing you step by step how I join the panels to make the queen duvet cover, so that it looks intentional. It doesn't look like my fabric just wasn't wide enough and that's why it's made like that, right? However, I am just prepping the fabric today, and the first thing I am doing to prep the fabric is to get a straight horizontal line across the fabric. Now, I'll show you one of the methods that I use to straighten my fabric horizontally. So let's get started. We are cutting across the fabric. What I'll do is take my scissors and I make a notch on the side. Let me make a new notch here because I had already started it. I'll make a new notch right at the edge and I cut through the self edge section right here. Then I will get a thread, if you want to say yarn, and then I just start pulling gently across the fabric. Now, as I pull, you will see that a mark is being made in the fabric, and that is because the yarns are knitted together to create the fabric. And so if you pull one piece of yarn out, you will definitely see where the yarn has been pulled from. So I'll just go ahead and do this. Okay, it just broke. And sometimes that happens. What I'll do is now stretch the fabric back out. If you look closely, I hope you can see it, but if you look closely, you will see this line here. Now, because the yarn just broke on me, what I'll do is I'll get my scissor and I'll just follow the line that I made when I pull the yarn out. And when I get to the end where I can see this line, I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so this is where the yarn broke. So what I'll do, instead of taking a yarn from this side, I'll take it from the opposite side, the side that I'm going to be discarding. So I take this yarn and I start pulling again. And sometimes fabrics are made up of shorter pieces of yarn, and so it may break on you several times, but ultimately you will get your straight line. So I'll cut again. And then I go ahead and pull another piece of yarn from this side. Here is our straight line right across the fabric. The next thing I'll do is cut 2 panels from the pattern fabric for the front of the duvet, and then I'll do the same with the solid fabric. A standard queen duvet cover is 88 inches, that's a width, by 90 inches, and that's your length. Now this is your finished measurements, and so when you're making the cover, you have to add increments that you will use for your seams. For this duvet cover, I will be putting in a zipper on the top edge. So what I'll do for the top edge is I'll add an inch. You can add 2 inches. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and I'll add 2 inches just to be liberal, right? So I'll add +2 for the top edge, and for the bottom edge, because I'm just going to have a seam, usually I'll add a 1/2 inch, but here, as I said, I'm going to be liberal. I'm going to add 1 inch. So my panels will be 93 inches long. Let's put the board aside, and I have the fabric on the table here, and what I'm going to do is line up the self edges. Essentially, I'm folding the fabric in half. I am going to put some pins in just so the fabric does not shift. And make sure that the self edges are together. I am going to go ahead and just straighten the fabric with my iron. You could have straightened it before you pin it. I was trying to see if I could get away without straightening it, but it's way more difficult to work with if you don't press out the creases in the fabric. So especially if you're a beginner, make sure you press your fabric before you start your project. Usually when I'm pressing out the fabric, I don't steam. I don't use the steam function on the iron, especially when I'm doing it for a client, because I don't want to run the risk of getting water on the fabric, because sometimes these things can leak. So I just do it, press the fabric on a dry setting. And I'm not creasing here because I'm not going to cut the fabric into 2 pieces. Now we can start measuring. I need 93 inches in length, so I measure 60 inches. Now I'll just fold the fabric back and pull the fabric onto the table. So from here we need 33 inches to make up the 93 inches. And I'll just stick a pin right where 33 is. Make sure the edges are all lined up here. Now this piece is 93 inches long. All I have to do is prepare this side, lay the piece that I have already cut onto that side, and cut another 93 inches panel. So now I'll just take the panel that I have already cut to 93 inches. I lay it out on top of this fabric, and then I'll just cut the other 93 inches panel. Okay, let's line up the top edges. Very important to line up the top edges, because that's the only way you're going to get the correct length. So I'll just pin this together here. Pin, 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 pin. Pinning and pressing are 2 very important things when you are making anything. Pinning and pressing. There we go. Now I'll just fold this over here, and I pull this back onto the table. Fold it over and pull back. And there we have it. So now there's a pin here. Just got to move this pin, and I'll just put it here. And then I'll go ahead and cut across. And so now I will have my 2 panels that I need to work with. There we go. And the fabric is just enough. This is all that's left. So just fold this together. And then I'll just put it under here. I want to let it stay straight because I don't want it to get all crumpled again. Thank you guys so much for spending the time with me. I won't keep you any longer because I will be repeating the same steps for the solid piece of fabric. But in part 2, I would love you to join me when I put the panels together, especially that I have to join pieces to make the panels. I will show you exactly how to make your duvet cover looks intentional when you have to join panels. So don't forget now, join me in part 2. Please go ahead and leave those thumbs up, share, and leave your comments also below. I'll see you in the next video.